between, then you're not necessarily all there. So what we got to do today with the gap down in the market is we're going to have to see like where supports hold. If we bust back over like yesterday's high, that's awesome. Like we can really get bullish. If we break below yesterday's low, that also would make us, really bearish, and we would be looking for shorts. But what happens is right now we're kind of in between yesterday's range. When you're in between yesterday's range, they can be a little bit more choppy, right? If you get what's called an inside day, those can be really tricky to trade because you're going to get both spikes up and down. But what we need to do is really see that range coalesce and start to break one way or another. So expect a little bit of choppiness till we start to get a clear-cut picture of which way we want to go. Do we curl back higher and take out yesterday's high, or we bust through the open yesterday, which really has been tested twice? So you got one test, two tests. Now, if we come in on the third test, that could be, right? That could be giving us a little signal that we have more room to fall. If you look here, theoretically, we have a lot of room down to the 50 SMA. When you're looking at the market, you never think really it can go like that because we've just been so strong and we have that kind of recency bias that, okay, the market doesn't really go down that much. But if it does break below, we have space here. And so, we wouldn't have really any support to the lower Bollinger Band. So that'd be around 184. So you still have a little bit of downside if you break under. Now, the issue today that's going to be that what makes trading so hard sometimes is that this market move is because of rumors, right? We have like the Chinese thing and whatever, and you got the Trumpster doing whatever the Trumpster's doing. So what's going to happen is, right, the market's going to move on tweets and rumors and, stuff like that. And so you have to be really vigilant, trade fast. Like, don't overstay your welcome. Like yesterday when we were trading, right, pins, it's like, you got the awesome push in the first 10, 15 minutes, and then it just sat around all damn day, right? And so, what we need to do is stay away from this kind of, we say this every day, right? But we need to stay away from this middle of the day, focus on the open and the close. That's where the action's going to be for the most part. We haven't been getting anything in the middle, and it's been like, it's been a little bit torture. And you just end up piling up commissions to get like low-level plays. I still want to keep pins on watch. We had a nice 4% bounce yesterday and a remount of the 9 EMA. You're still oversold on the stochastics, so I think that this thing's got, some room to pop. It did drop almost $10, $8, so that's a really good, solid pullback when we're looking at kind of the scheme of pullback. So definitely something to keep on the watch list. Out of the gappers today, and we'll go kind of back in. Let's first talk about the non-gappers. I think the BYND, as long as they can hold this breakout spot here, 74, 75, it's going to be in the zone. It does pull back like really hard sometimes. Yesterday, you had the nice flat top breakout over 72. It ran a couple bucks into the close. You're starting to pull back. The pullback is actually good. So on a down day like today with the market gapping down, like we don't want to be chasing any spikes in this thing, right, on this Beyond Meat. We don't want to be chasing like a $5 opening spike on this. It's actually better to let this thing pull back and start to, get it on some type of weakness and some type of consolidation, because it just doesn't work good for us anytime we've had to kind of chase this thing up on strength. The bottom just drops out on it really, really fast. So those are the two main ones that I'm watching for like non-gappers. And then I'm looking at this SPGI for a day two. Man, I really screwed this one up yesterday. We were staring at it, and me and Zaman were thinking about it. We're like, it's almost too easy. Like, it was so clean that I didn't think it could go. Right? It was so clean and so hot, I thought, no way this could be hot. It looks too hot. And so I overthought the thing. I know a lot of the guys in the chat room were just Shredzilla in this thing. Man, if you get a $5, $6 move, end of day, that's hot right there, right? That thing is hot to trot. This one's going to be, I think, a potential red to green. We'll see how it opens. It's not opening red, but we'll see how it goes. And then watch how it acts around that high from the previous day. So that'll be a nice day 2 play. On the gapper side, I had the setting on the watch list, but it's already fading off here. So who knows? Like this, it didn't really hold. I don't like when they fade off $5 from pre-market highs. So I'm kind of thinking this one's done with for now. AIG might be something. It's a really thick stock. You got 500 share float, but if you can hold over this 50 spot in this base breakout, I do think you're going to have something over there that could be a potential play. Remember on something like this, because it's a little bit thicker, ideally like a pullback play or a consolidation works better. But the thicker stocks, they do spike in the first 5-10 minutes. They'll have a quick spike at the open, and then they tend to sit around. So just be mindful of these things. We got Exempt over here, break under 26 bucks. If it can hold under there, I think that this one will have a chance. You got about 600,000 pre-market volume, so it's going to definitely have the liquidity we need. Hopefully, if it keeps it up, and we're right at that sweet spot where if you break under that level, I think you're going to be able to take this thing ORB, really, you may be able to take this thing right off at the open. So that'll be something to just kind of be mindful of when we're doing this is you got 25, give it about 25.50, and I think that, we may have a play in this. Watch the spread on it, though. If it's spready, then, you're not going to necessarily want to take something like this. Because anytime you get a spread on, kind of a more of an unknown stock like this, it ends up being a disaster. And same thing, I got this error mark on watch list. The volume's a little bit light on it right now, but it is clean. Anything under this trend line works. I think that this one actually has some room to fall. If you look at its weekly chart here, it's coming down to levels, hasn't been in a few years. That's the kind of play we want. The issue on this one is it's only got 11,000 shares in volume pre-market, so it's most likely not going to be playable for us unless it fires off 500,000 shares minimum at the open. Then it could be something that we'll put on our watch list and be able to shred. Looks like a lot of you guys are watching. So those are my gappers for today. The faves, at least. I think Exempt is definitely going to be one of them, and then the settings maybe too. SBGI. Let's take a look. It looks like a lot of you guys are looking at this GWPH. You know what? What the fuck? I didn't have this on my list. This is hot. Hell yeah. So I don't know why I didn't have that on my list. So you got a nice flat top breakout over there. That's good to go. One thing that GWPH is just known for is that it's got a hell of a spread on it all the time. So if you can't handle the heat on the spread, meaning you have to you can't trade a stock with a 50-cent spread and put a 50-cent stop. Usually a stock that's got a 50-cent spread, you may have to do $1, $2 stop losses on the thing when you're trying to manage your risk. So just be real mindful. Make sure you got yourself a really, really nice setup on it to go. And I think if you do, it's got a chance. Man, it looks pretty hot. So we'll see which way this thing wants to roll. I like this one. This is probably my favorite out of them. So good eye, boys and girls. Kyle, what's up, baby? How are you? What's going on in the hood? Blin, blin. Every time I come around the city, blin, blin. This one is kind of gapping into resistance. Watch this thing if it gets out over 10. I think that's when you're going to really get the shred zone. But in general, it's just in a vortex of resistance. It did have a 1-50 split on it. So a lot of times when you get those stocks that do the reverse splits, they lower down the float, so they can get a little bit explosive. So definitely not my cup of tea, just due to the fact that the chart is not clean. But I do see, if you start to kind of cruise over 10, you may get a little something. Mega Takes, what's up, baby? Irvin, what's going on? Carlo, how you doing? Yes, I do think we keep TVIX on the list. As long as I get a hold over yesterday's high, I think that's going to be good. Mr. Johnson, what's up? Awesome. Danny, how you doing? Carlo, my Spanish pirate, what's going on the streets of Malaga? 1 test, 2 tests. Wait, you're living in America now, aren't you? I'd go back to Spain, man. That's where you get nice. That's where you get a lot of fun. Let's see, 1 test, 2 tests. You keep this TVIX on the list, guys. I think that's going to be a good one, too. All right, so let's go do what we got to do. Be good. Remember that the market is giving all the shredders in the first 15, 20 minutes, and then it's like you want to sit it out. So shred the first 15 minutes, go take a nap, and come back at at 2 p.m. Anything after the first 20 minutes is always just garbage these days. All right, so let's go do what we got to do. Trade fast, trade well.